Hello and welcome to our daily show where we talk about personal development and financial development. And today we're talking about why, even though today may be Friday for you, Friday is our Monday. Today is our Monday in our office. And we're going to talk about why this has been an extremely successful action in our business and why you may want to consider it too. So as you're coming in, please let us know where you're tuning in from. Like, comment, and share. Tag anyone you know that would like to hear this information. Any business owners or people that work in a business. If you don't already know who we are, we're Martin and Chelsea Matthews. We're founders of M Wealth Group, a financial consulting and investment agency. We're authors of this book, Let's Fight About Money, about couples and money. Building an unbreakable financial house, which is our mission. We want to help you build an unbreakable financial house so you can handle anything that comes your way financially and create the life you truly want to live and make the impact you truly want to make. So today we're talking about why Friday is our Monday. We're going to get into this and we're going to tell you exactly why Thursday is our Friday and Friday is our Monday. So let us know if you have any different days that are different days. If that makes sense. So yeah, all right, we're gonna get into it. Anything you want to say before we get into it?
I just want to say hello to a few people. What's up, Anthony? What's up, Lord Juras? People have interesting screen names on Instagram. Sorry if I mispronounced your screen name.
Yeah, the Instagram names are hard.
Booney Invested S.Watts1. What's up, everybody? Thanks, Little Dirty.
LLC
Oh,
Dirty
LLC
DeVita.
Dirty DeVita. I love all the names on IG. So look, Friday is the new Monday, and this has to do with business operations. This has to do with how we run things in our business, how we run things, different aspects of our life. All of these different things is very important. So Chelsea's going to tell you a little bit. So where does this come from, and how do we start using this in our business?
So we use something called the Hubbard Management System. Hubbard Management Technology, which is basically like a management system technology to be able to manage an organization, how to put order, organization, how to organize all the departments and divisions of a business to make it really flourish and prosper. So there are specific things that we've implemented into our business that has helped it grow exponentially. And so we'll start out with telling you why Thursday is our Friday. And that is because in our business, we keep stats. You may have heard us talk about keeping stats. And every single person in the company, every division, every department has a stat, because we have to be able to measure activities and we need to know where the company is going. And, ultimately it comes down to revenue that the business brings in to be able to operate and keep the business going and for everyone to be successful in the business. So to be able to know where we're at, then we have to be able to track our activities. And so, for example, we have a stat for appointments scheduled. We have a stat for gross income. And we look at these stats every single week on Thursday at 2 p.m., not at the end of the day. At 2 p.m., our week ends because everyone in the company stops what they're doing. They finish their work. They count up all their stats for the week. So whether it's how many appointments were scheduled, how much business was submitted, how much business paid out, how much money did the business receive, how much content was created, how many posts were made, how many new followers do we have, people who want and like the content that we put out. We don't count followers because we want to be popular. We count followers because the more people that follow us, that tells us more people are interested in the information that we are providing. And so that's a measure of, hey, are we providing what's needed and wanted? We track, the ads that we have running. What are the results of those ads? How many leads did we get in? So every single activity in the business has a stat. We look at that stat. We don't just look at it. We graph it. We put it on a graph. So we know compared to last week, is that stat up? Is it the same? or is it down? And then we have beyond that, there's even conditions. So if that stat is up, slightly up, it could be a normal condition. If it's extremely up, it could be an affluence condition. If it's slightly down, it could be an emergency condition. And if it's steeply down, it could be danger. And each one of those conditions is part of the Hubbard management system. And based on whatever condition that stat is in, there's a specific formula of steps to follow to get that stat into a higher condition. So like if you have a stat in emergency condition, there's specific steps to take to then get that into a normal or affluent condition. So we can look at every single area in our business and we know exactly where it's at. We know exactly what condition it's in, and we know exactly what steps need to be taken to get it to go up. You know, we talk about cash flow, get it up and keep it up, right? We apply that same thinking to our stats, get them up and keep them up, right? Sometimes there could be areas in the business that are going up. Sometimes there could be areas that go down, but we know exactly what steps to take to get it to go in the direction that we want it to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna, I didn't plan this part, but this is why I encourage people to watch on our YouTube channel, because sometimes we do a screen share where I can show you something I'm talking about on the screen, so you have a visual representation of that particular thing. And then, so if you're watching on Instagram, you can hop on YouTube or just stay on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that the next time we're live, you can actually be able to see it.
And we have a link in our bio for our YouTube page. You can go subscribe there and you can get notified when we go live. And also the cool thing about YouTube is you can see whenever we do screen shares. You can also, if you have to do something else on your phone, you don't have to like log out of the stream. It'll still play and you can do something else if you need to.
Yeah, so 1 second,
not that we don't want your undivided attention, but you know, sometimes it can suck if you have to go to something else and come back and get back in. So anyways, so for any business owners out there, or even if you work in a business, do you guys use stats? Do you guys look at, and if you use stats, you know, if you keep track of your activities and are they up or down, do you keep track of them weekly, monthly, quarterly? Like how are our activities measured where you work?
So this is actually one example on our stats. So we graph, when Chelsea says we graph things, so we put in the numbers and it shows on a graph. And basically, depending on how that graph looks, will determine what condition that activity is in. So you can very easily, you can actually just look at your entire company. We post up, and in our conference room, we post up all the stats. So somebody can go and stand there and look and see in every area of the business how well is something doing. So
for a 3-month period and also a year period.
Yeah. So on a screen, you see there's a graph. So one of our staff members, Rain is our marketing operations manager. All right. So one of the stats that she's in charge of is emails out. So you can see there's a big spike all the way up there, and it's in that new range. And then this last week, emails out were down slightly. So, okay, emails out were down slightly, but it's still way higher than it was a few months ago. So what we would do this week is make sure that that's corrected. So Rain already has Chelsea will talk about that. So there's things we do every week to make sure our stats continue to go up. You can apply this to anything, whether it's a business, whether it's let's say you do hair. Right, you could put a stat on how many appointments you have scheduled, how many appointments showed up, how many appointments didn't show up. So my barber, he mostly works on appointments, right? So I schedule weeks out to go and to go do the haircuts regularly and all that. There's other barbers in the barber shop who people will book appointments with them and not show up. So they actually have multiple times where they're like, oh, I go there. They're like, oh, this guy, that's the second time booking. He didn't show up. That's a problem. And so they're like, well, if he doesn't show up 3 times, then we will like charge him or something. Look, so that means that person's having a problem and they're losing revenue in that business because somebody's taking that time slot that could have been taken up by somebody who really actually wanted a haircut. whether it's a haircut, whether it's a beauty salon,
I
whatever
already
it
have a
is.
solution for that.
Yeah, what's your solution?
So the girl that I go to for my lashes, I have to pay $30 to schedule an appointment, and it goes towards the appointment, but I have to basically make a down payment saying, hey, I'm committing to this appointment. If I don't show up, I don't get that money back, and it doesn't go towards my next appointment. So if he charges, like somebody knows they're going to have to pay a certain amount for a haircut, and he charges like $20 to schedule the appointment, you better believe that that person is either going to stop scheduling or show up for the appointment.
Yeah, so this is a question Rain typed up here. We're talking about how do you measure activity where you work? When we're talking about stats, we're talking about measuring something that was produced, right? Something that was done. Stats show production happened. So if you show that, hey, these many appointments were made, this much revenue came in, these many activities were done, all of that is show that something was produced. So it doesn't matter if you're a business owner or you are an employee. Let's say you work for someone and they don't keep stats. The company does not keep stats. The company doesn't track a lot of these things. So maybe they don't track it on a weekly basis. They track it quarterly. A lot of businesses track things quarterly. The reason we don't do that is using the Hubbard management system as we apply in our business is that's too long of a period for me to adjust. It's too late. 3 months is a long period of time for me to realize something's not working. Okay, I need to know week by week and day by day. There's things we track daily. So I need to be able to see that and be able to adjust so that my attention is focused on making this next week higher than the previous week.
And if you guys saw that graph, the graph that Martin put on the screen, and it went sharply to that new higher level, that's actually a condition of power. So like when you get your stats up into this much higher condition and then you maintain it, that's called power. So the goal is to get all of our stats into power, then into a new normal where that becomes the new normal, and then you work from there to get into another power. That's how you know that you're really flourishing and prospering. You could see it right there. The information, the numbers don't lie. Okay, so anything else about Thursday is our Friday?
Yeah, so what she means by Thursdays or Fridays, we end our week on Thursdays based on how we run operations here.
Yeah, so everyone submits their stats. They graph them. We have a system that we use that graphs all of the numbers. We print them out. We post them on the wall. And then each person assigns their static condition, and they make up a battle plan of what, based on that condition formula that I mentioned. There's a formula for every condition that the stat is in. And so it gives you specific steps to take. And then based on your role, you fill in, applying to that condition, how am I going to address my stat this week? What activities am I going to do?
And we did not invent this, by the way. This has been around for a long time and used in a lot of great, big, successful companies. So if you want to understand details on this, send us a DM. But we did not invent this. We just apply it in our business to create more success.
So then once that's done, then we know exactly what needs to be done. On Friday morning, that is our Monday. So we have a stats meeting where we get together, the whole company gets together, we go over our stats, our conditions, and our battle plans. So we talk about exactly what needs to be done. Then we assign an overall condition for the whole company based on the average of all the stats. And then we discuss a battle plan. Okay, these steps we're going to take this week. And then we get to work. So we start implementing the plan right away. We don't wait until Monday. Okay, so most people, they end their week on Friday, they have their weekend, then they're recovering from the weekend, they come in Monday. Okay, now what are we doing this week? And maybe by like Tuesday, they're like actually getting into the swing of things. No, we know exactly what we need to do, and we start implementing it on Friday so that we already have a day ahead. We go into the weekend already having activity produced for the new week.
We're already ahead of you.
You cannot win. You cannot beat us.
if you're starting on Monday and I started already on Friday, I'm already ahead of you.
You can if you implement things properly and know where
Yes.
you stand.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, and I say that because I'm looking for every advantage I can get in the marketplace. I'm not trying to be somebody who's at a disadvantage. I was watching a video from Kobe Bryant the other day, and he's like, "Imagine if you woke up at 4 o'clock." I don't wake up at 4 o'clock. I started waking up now about 5:30, and I didn't used to do that, but I've been waking up early. You don't have to wake up early. I generally have stayed up late. But what he was saying was, he's like, imagine if I woke up at 4 and I went to train till 6, and I went back to train at 9. What's up, Craig? And I went back to train at like 1, and I went back to train at 6. He goes, like, by the time I got so much ahead of you already that it's much harder for somebody else to catch up based on the work they're going to do over the summer. So he just put in more time towards doing it. He structured it in that fashion. So in this way, when we started applying this data to our business information and started running our business this way, we started to gain a lot of clarity on things, on how everybody knows where to stand within their production. Everybody wants to. It's another thing to keep your team accountable. If everybody knows they have stats, and you have the right people in your company and the right people in your team, everybody's going to want to be high stat. They want the stats to be high. They want to produce well because they understand their stats contributes to the overall company. They're not just a number. They are somebody who's contributing to the success of the entire group. And so if you understand that, then you start to put things in place. And if you don't produce, you wouldn't last in that environment.
You cannot hide.
You can't hide because your stats are there. It goes for me. I have stats. If my stats are not producing, the other week I had some stats that was partially neglected, right? So those stats went down. Oh, it pissed me off. The stats went down. So I have stats too. My stats are up on the board. Everybody can see my production. Doesn't matter that I'm the CEO of the company. I still have stats. In fact, so you got to look at all of that and then have a game plan to put into place. So that's how we operate things here, and it keeps things very accountable and very transparent.
This really changes the culture too, where people want to produce and they feel good about producing and they feel bad about not producing. And have you ever been, whether maybe like in school or a job, and you were like working your ass off, and then somebody next to you is like not doing SHIT, and they're getting the same amount of credit and they're getting paid the same amount. And maybe they've been there longer than you and they get promoted before you. That sucks. And then guess what that does? That promotes non-production. And the people who are producing well and working hard, they're like, well, why bother? I'm not even getting acknowledged. It doesn't even, like, this guy over here is not doing anything and they're getting all the rewards. So I might as well just, sit back and not do anything. And then people start doing less and less. And then you start feeling less productive and people start trying to get out of doing things. And then things start on a downward spiral of like with your stats and everything. That's how businesses don't last. And so by creating a culture where everybody wants to win, everyone wants to do well, and it creates a little bit of friendly competition because nobody wants like their stats down and then everybody else's stats up. And it's not that nobody necessarily gets it's also a way for people to keep their own ethics in. Like, we don't come and say, your stats are down, you suck. Or like, we don't berate people. It's like they already know if their stats are done and they have the specific steps to take to get it to go up. Same thing with art. We have stats too, just like Martin said. And of course we don't want our stats to be down. And so we take the necessary actions to get it up and keep it up.
Yeah. By the way, your country, every organization, your country has stats, Lord, whether they measure it or not. So you can actually see if the stat to production of your country is growing or is shrinking. So right now, to talk about the production in the United States have been reducing for the last 2 quarters. Whatever you make of that or not, that means production has been shrinking. That means the output, the value of what people are producing has been going down. That is not a good sign anywhere. So whether that's good or bad, that means we need to to rally production, people should be. We got to talk more about people producing.
Yeah, this brings up a very good point. Also, is when stats are down, do not make excuses. You cannot be reasonable with, well, I was out sick, or there was bad weather, or the economy's bad, or like, it does not matter why the stats are down. You just have to confront that they're down, and you put in the actions to get them to go up.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you can't like have down stats and be like, well, it's down, but it's really up if you look at, this and this and this factor. No, it's freaking down. Okay. So get it to go up.
And according to the Hubbard management system that we use, you don't reward down stats.
Then you're just going to get more down stats.
So when people aren't producing, your goal is not to reward them not producing. It's to reward the producers. So America actually has it backwards. You can actually look at your taxation in America. What does the American tax system do? It penalizes the producers. If you produce and you make a lot more money, they tax you at a higher rate. This is so stupid. When I first came to America, I thought the more money you made, your tax percentage went down to incentivize you to work harder to make more money. That's how I thought it worked. More. So I figured that's what I thought it worked. I'm like, oh, well, if you made more money, you're going to get into a lower tax bracket. No, that's not how it works. The more money you make, they want to tax you higher. That is too logical. They want to tax you higher. And so then what if you're productive and you're making more and they're going to try to tax you higher? If any amount I make over this amount, they're going to want to tax me at a higher rate. What are you logically going to start doing? You're going to start thinking, you're not going to say, I'm not going to go make money, because that's a non-productive attitude. You're going to start thinking, how do I reduce my taxes? How do I reduce the taxes I'm going to have to pay on this crap, right? How do I reduce that? So that's what people start doing. And then productive people who make a lot of money start looking at that and then start reducing their taxes. And then the politicians don't like that, so they get mad and say, look at that guy, he's not paying any taxes, which the politician doesn't create any jobs, by the way. So understand that the system of taxation in America is completely ridiculous, because it penalizes you for being successful. It attempts to. So then you have to figure out different ways and strategies to then reduce your taxes, which should not be. It should be a lot simpler. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say on that piece, because it's ridiculous. But you look and you should reward your producers. If you have a team, if you have people you work with, doesn't matter if they're employees, contractors, people around, reward production. And then the people who are not producing, they're going to have two decisions to make. They're either going to start producing higher so they can be rewarded more, or they're going to bounce. They're going to go somewhere else because they're not fitting into that environment. And another thing on why a Friday begins, we begin our week on Friday, is because we're in our office park here. We got a lot of offices around here. In our office park on Friday, halfway through the day, everybody's gone. They're already mentally checked out. By Friday morning, they're already mentally checked out. If by Friday morning our team
don't even come in on Friday,
half of them don't even come. It's like empty out there. There's so your team is already mentally checked out because they're thinking about the weekend. But because our week begins on Friday, everybody's checked in. They know I did my stats, did my plans that I'm going to do, and then now we have to start executing on it. Another
thing that we do at the end of the day, to acknowledge like the production that we have completed. Oh, thanks. Is that we have a wrap-up meeting. Every morning we have a morning meeting and we discuss our battle plan, the actions that we're going to complete. Then we come back at the end of the day, we have a wrap-up meeting and we discuss the things that we completed. It's a very quick meeting. We just go battle plan, the actions, and then
we don't say
we say the things. Yeah. And then wrap up, we go we say no, we say the things that we completed. And then we say, great job, awesome, thank you, to acknowledge people, because then you go home feeling a sense of accomplishment, knowing the things that you accomplished, and you feel better. It's not like, oh, thank God the day's over. You know, I don't know what I accomplished. So everyone has a very clear sense of what they've accomplished and what still needs to get done.
Yeah. And were you going to say something else after that?
I was just going to go into the other thing.
Yeah, go for that, and then I'll make a point afterwards.
So I was going to say that it's very important to have a plan, to have your activities organized, to have your goals organized, to know what you're working towards. In the company, no matter what role someone has, they know the income goals of the company. They know where the income is of the company. They know what we're working towards and what actions are going to get there. And so anything that you want to accomplish in life has to have goals, and then you have to have a plan to get there from where you are. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things in our business that we help people with is a financial strategy plan. And so that helps to put organization into your finances and looking at, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to be. What are the things that I need to organize, and what are the steps I need to take to get there? So that's a service that we offer. And if you're interested in looking at that, you can check out 6buildingblocks.com/plan, 6buildingblocks.com/plan. And it gives you more information exactly. There's a little video and it talks about exactly what's included. And so that really helps you put organization into your finances, get clear on exactly what your goals are and what steps that you need to take to get there. What?
So usually, Rain types in the comments. Rain's staff member that works here. She types in the comments, and usually when the comments come up, I click to then show it on the screen. So as soon as she typed it, she displayed it on the screen. So Rain knows kind of the flow of the things now, so she's doing that. So shout out to Rain.
Oh, yeah,
Johnny's
Rain.
behind the camera there, making sure everything's running smoothly from that perspective.
I didn't know that she did that.
So
really on it.
It takes people behind the screens. She's like, "Are you trying to go live with us, Rain?" I think she did that part by accident. So understand that. So you may primarily see Chelsea and I, but there's other people here that makes the whole thing work, that makes the operations work, that makes our videos work, that edits our videos, films our stuff.
Like a light just went out and Johnny's over here fixing it.
Yeah,
Thank
Johnny's
you.
So, it's all of this when you have the responsibility of, and I want to say this, I'm talking to both business owners and staff members, people who work for someone else. You don't have to be the owner of the company to take initiative. You don't have to be a manager. You don't have to be an executive. You can take initiative for keeping your own stats.
But that's how you can get to a manager and executive.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's a good thing to do. The reason why we end our day with people, we do a wrap-up meeting and people talk about what their production is. It's because everybody knows everybody else was productive that day in the company. And we validate production. We cheer for their production. The things you want more of, you have to validate those things. You have to cheer for those things. You have to applaud those things, and you will then get more of it. If you berate those things or you don't acknowledge them, you will not get more of those things. So it's how we keep people, because everybody wants at the end of the day to state their production. This is what I produce. This is what my contribution. And so that's what helps people feel good about their work, is they're validated and they feel like I'm doing good work. I'm producing. Very, very important. Ellis Jackson's Firearms. What's up? That's a 2A person. Big Booty 2022. Join us. What's up? So I love the Instagram screen.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Yeah, applaud production. Absolutely. So, and then we'll wrap up with this. It's very important that even if you're an employee, you start doing these things. When you want to get a promotion, when you want to ask for a raise, here's what most people do in their companies. They go and they talk to their boss, they read a bunch of articles about asking for a raise. You know your most effective and efficient way to get a raise? Show your damn statistics. These are my stats. This is what I've produced. And boom. then the company, then that's it. If you want a promotion, you want that, keep your own stats. If you work at a dental office and you're the receptionist, keep the stats of how many people you greeted every day. For this last weeks, I greeted all these people. I scheduled these many appointments, blah, blah, blah. You keep that. You keep a record of your stats. Graph your own stats. And then you can go to management and say, you know what? I'd like to take on more responsibility. I'd like to enter into a management role. Is there a management training program I can be a part of? All of that, all these different things that you can be able to do. Rain works remotely. So I have an office here. Rain's the only person who works remotely. Why? Because she produces her stats. She produces good stats. So Rain used to live here in this state. She moved to another state so she could keep working with our company and work remotely. So she doesn't have to go into the office every day, all of that. Now, if her stats were very low, would be like, no, that's not going to work. But when you keep stats, it shows your productivity. So you can do that. So if you want some of those kinds of things,
I mean, if it's a role
that can be remote, like video editing, unfortunately, the person has to be here. They got to film us and edit us, so they can't really do that remotely. But there's things like that you have to look at if you're trying to make yourself a valuable member of a company. And as the company grows, you should be rewarded. As your company expands, you should make more money. Part of our drive in making our company more successful is so that our staff members make more money. People do want to make a lot of money, okay? It's okay to make a lot of money. Because there's things they want to do, personal development, personal growth, spiritual development, their spiritual growth. All of these things are of interest to us, and we want to help people do that. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure to go to 6buildingblocks.com/plan to request a financial strategy plan that will help you get on track with some of your goals, whether as a business or as a household. So we'll look forward to talking to you next time.